Greetings, salutations, y'all. Man, in a few days. Last time, if you missed it, we're away from the friendly confines, but still had good times. Still had some good fun. Got to celebrate, little happy birthday. But beyond that, tonight we are going to talk a little bit of sports, and then of course, we'll talk a little bit about these FAMU politics. Had somebody kind of share information with us, so we're gonna have them on and kind of talk about see what they can do, what they're offering. You already know what's up, what it's always gonna be though. It's about to be Fangs up.
Yeah, baby, you know what time it is. Now let's get it started.
Are you kidding me? Unreal!
While our HBCUs are mostly known for academic rigor, community, they also know how to turn up.
Does he have it? Yes, he does! And that might be the knockout punch.
All right, greetings, salutations. Yeah, no, we like to get it started. Man, not gonna hold y'all too long on the sports side because we do have a special guest coming on a little bit later. But we do want to make sure we honor those who haven't been honored yet. But lady in first, so it kind of gives you a hint. Gonna have Deborah Payton-Jones is gonna be coming on. She is gonna be also running for first vice president. So, I think Mike Road Dog Reed connecting us up there. So he's like, hey, so, we try to be somewhat fair, unbiased. What's up, little baby? So we're going to have her up there. Probably about 20, 30 minutes. Yeah, no, I don't normally do segments. I just kind of come up here. So a little different for me right now. If you are so inclined, I want to join Rattler Boosters. Hey, still time left. I don't think it's gonna count for your taxes, but you can still join. I'm gonna try it. Also, St. Clair, if you catch it tomorrow, Friday, 6 p.m. Hallelujah 95, St. Clair, myself, and special guest. We're gonna talk about the NCAA tournament and a little baseball. So not really FAMU related, but still good times. So we definitely will be up there kind of talking about some of those things. Give it, brother, real quick. I don't know if this happens to anybody else, but sometimes randomly before I'm supposed to start talking, coughing fit. So I'm completely good though. So, but before we get too far in, let's make sure we thank everybody who's come on so far. National Alumni Association. If you missed, Jeremiah Carter is going to be coming on as your corresponding secretary. He's already been on the show. So thank you, Jeremiah, for coming out there. If you missed our show on Sunday, we hit y'all with a heavy hitter. Chuck Lewis, also running for first vice president. He was on the show, talked about what he's going to be able to offer, what he's being able to do for the National Alumni Association, and what he's going to be able to continue to do. Check some things. So, we got questions. And Mr. President, he also joined us on Sunday. Curtis Johnson. I wanted to have the graphic right, but I was doing on computer number 2. That's where we did the mobile show on. And when you try to run the show and the slides, it don't like it. So, but wanted to make sure y'all saw his flyer out there. He is running for re-election as president of the FAMU National Alumni Association. So, and on Sunday, we're gonna have one of the other contestants, Mr. William Human, is going to be coming on as well. But appreciate Curtis for coming on, thinking it not robbery to give us a little bit of his time. Always welcome back, sir. And before we get out there, don't forget, if you are going to Frisco, Texas, can't promise you any deals, but I can say you'll definitely have a good time. So go out there. But if you haven't seen, look, the transfer portal has been transfer portering. You definitely saw ONG Strike Zone really give a lot more time than I am going to about this, because I've already stated HBCUs are kind of becoming the minor leagues, not even just HBCUs, just anybody not in that autonomous two. I don't even see the autonomous 4 or 5. It's really just you're either in the SEC or the Big Ten from my perspective. And I think eventually we're going to see something going on there. But one of our major players, Olivia Delancey, decided to hit the portal. Not a shock. Was definitely one of those things where, and not speaking ill. That's not like me being like mean. But that's just me being honest. During the season, I noticed, and I give credit what's credit due. Brian for OG Strike Zone was just like, hey, can we just not even say the name? Because it's like, hey, when she's coming back, and we're like, I don't think she's coming back. It wasn't that you had information or you had solid facts or figures. Just had a feeling she wasn't coming back. So, look, sorry, that thing was bothering me a little bit. So she's not coming back. Not a shock. Not right now. If she does come back, awesome. Wish her back. But if not, like, just saying. And right there, I knew Coach Gordon was going to have to recruit a whole team. I didn't expect Coach Curry to have to do the same thing. I won't disagree completely. I expected the major players. I wasn't surprised when my boy Alex got in the portal, just because injuries, playing time. But to see Matthews hit the portal, that's a bit of a red flag. I'm just saying, like, we've seen kind of Crary and Matthews. It's been a thing for the past 2 years. And with what we hear, not confirmed, that's a red flag to me. It's concerning. But I still got faith in Coach Crary. I'll leave that there. And I expected that's what Delancey was doing. She got out of conference film and stopped. You're not wrong. I'll leave that there. I will say that. Now, on the other side, Demaya Griffin, another hit. What's up, Deborah T? I think that was, you've lost your core as a team. If you caught Liv, I'll give her, Liv for Hoops, her credit. She was like, what's the team's identity? Can't tell you. Like, I do know, in talking to Coach Gordon, she's been very excited about getting her girls in. Like, hey, these are my players. These are the girls I'm really looking forward to getting in. Yeah, this is all your team now. And at this point, for Coach Gordon, and any coach really, but especially if you're in Coach Gordon's shoes, my concern is you're going into year 3, which should be the contract year. We've seen growth, but we haven't seen exponential growth. It's baby steps. Do you have an administration that is willing to accept baby steps? That's just an honest question. Is AD Suggs going to be cool with kind of just being competitive, maybe not championship caliber, but getting 10 wins a season, 11? Is that something serious? Because at this point, the talk is, move down, merge, all these good things. And I'll be honest, I said this last year. I've said this before, that I thought there would be nothing wrong with the two conferences merging. Oh, y'all can't see it, so it's okay. I have a letter K from when I was a kid that fell over. My mom's would be like, "Oh, okay." So anybody else, IYK type vibe. But if you're not one of those top 5 schools, you're probably re-recruiting your team every year. So the question is, if you are at the level of a FAMU, coaching wise, is that a fight you want to fight all the time? Like, and that's a real question considering basketball hasn't gotten pressure to be as good as football or even other sports in years. I mean, that's just me being real. Like, y'all know one thing about Keith. I'm keeping it being with you at all time. We're not basketball fans. Like, I tell people all the time, they're like, why is there nobody at the basketball games? Between 2 universities and a state college, we're talking 25,000 seats for basketball. And on any given day, on a good Saturday, there's 10,000 people watching basketball between all 3 schools. That's not good. Like, Tallahassee's not a basketball town. It's just not. Like, you have people who hoop. I'm not saying nobody in Tallahassee plays basketball. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, when it comes to basketball season, nobody is going to the Lawson, the Tucker, or the Eagle Dome just to watch basketball unless you're winning championships. That's just real. And the question is, do you blow it up for a mediocre program? Like, if the results are going to be the results, should you blow it up? And that's not a indictment or a defense. It's an honest question. If you're going to be mid, do you just blow it up? Because don't get me wrong, I'm a hamburger guy. I can go to Checkers or I can go to Five Guys. Depending on what my wallet look like. But if I go to Checkers, I'm not disappointed with mid. Like, I walked into the door. Okay, most of them don't have doors. I went through the drive-through and I got mid. I'm not mad at mid because I knew coming in the door I was going to get mid. With FAMU basketball, are you, one, investing enough to get more than mid? Second, are you truly upset when at your investment level you're getting mid? I'm just saying, this year I've been to 3 FAMU basketball games, like in person, and one of them was a doubleheader. All of them were in Central Florida. When they went to UCF, I was over there. I drove to Daytona. I was there. Are we really in an uproar when we're getting mediocre basketball when you're probably overachieving, especially in today's landscape? Like, this ain't, I don't know if y'all saw, I believe it was Joe Kim Noah, when he put the thing and he was like, we were paying to play basketball and now these kids are getting paid to play. Like, I'm quietly, I'm a UK fan. Like, I like the University of Kentucky. That's one of my teams. But when we go for the football game every other year, my homeboy and I don't talk trash. I remember the first time I went, brother was talking mad cash to me. And it took every piece of me not to call him the N-word because we were in a mixed company. I said, bruh, it's Kentucky. We're not supposed to win. I'm just here for the game. I'm just having fun. Don't make this something that it's not. At what place are we as a Division I program, if we're going to stay a Division I program, walking in the gym and saying, I'm not paying the most for this, so I can't expect the most for it. I'm just saying, like, so do you blow it up? I get those that are mad with Crary because guess what? You saw a lot of growth. It was like, oh, crap. And on both sides, what is it? We're like, Pleasure P, I did you wrong. we didn't treat each other right, whatever vibe. Like, if he leaves tomorrow, I'm not mad at him. You jerk him around on some things, get what you give. And look, support our players, show them we care about somewhat. Like, I'm just saying, because I hear any person that wants to fuss about alumni giving. I'll listen to you. But this is my bounce back with that. And I said, I put in a chat on ONG. The nation average for giving back is 8% from alumni. The number we were given was about 4. So if we're already saying that a lot of our alumni don't come into their own until much later in life, how do we expect our alumni to give more? Furthermore, the system's broken. If even the majors are only getting 8%, then expecting alumni to give a lion's share of your donations is a fool's heart. You're wasting your time. It's not going to happen. Not that it can't happen, but it's so far against the norm that it shouldn't happen. So that means you have to find other ways to support your program. It can't just be pure ticket sales. It's got to be something more. When you're looking at the bigger schools, some of it is revenue sharing. Some of it is that merger mindset. But at a certain place, we got to be real with, are we Division I? Or are we just playing a part? Because, can we call a spade a spade? Y'all know me. I don't care. Outside of this HBCU space, what Division I teams you playing? And I mean, real questions got to be asked, right? Like, football season, last non-HBCU team you played was West Florida. Last Division I non-HBCU team you played, Southeastern Louisiana. I'm gonna jump on a ledge with that without any information in front of me, which I don't normally do, but I'm fairly certain that's the last time we played a Division I FCS. Obviously, last FBS would be like what, Troy or Miami, but FCS championship level, Southeastern Louisiana. That was a Willie Simmons era. I don't know if Cozy was on staff at that time. That's crazy. And little babies, and that percent is at Ivy League level as well. You're not getting 75% of your loan fast to get back. You're not. And we're talking about billion-dollar endowments. We have a vice president who literally just he shared the idea of taxing endowments. How does that help? It doesn't hurt your billion-dollar endowments. I think FAMU, we flirted with like in the 200 million range, which is for an HBCU, stellar. Like, which mean 100 or something, 200 mil. Y'all realize we have schools in the SWAC with less than $30 million in endowment funds. And when I say less, I believe you go to the SIAC and CIAA, some of these schools got $4 million endowments. You tax that, they're screwed. So when we start talking about firing coaches and, getting rid of this person, getting rid of that person, I really do ask the question: how committed are we to winning? Like, and sorry, that thought hit. It's not even just how committed are we. How much can we give? Like, you can only give till it hurts so much until the pain is excruciating. And then you're like, I can't take anymore. So, then that's an AD question. We've had her on. But at the same point, you don't want her to drop that kind of information on here, like, hey, we're moving to this level or that level. Like, but if you're honest about what HBCUs are athletically, especially at the Division I level, what does dropping down to Division II really do for you? Are you missing out on money because of the NCAA tournament? How much are you really getting? You missing a meal? And not per school, total. You split that 12 ways, talking $100,000. It's just, I asked the question. I said it before. I say it again. When we're looking at basketball, you really mad you're not winning? We do have some football offers out there. I'm gonna wait on them though. I'll mention them but I didn't get to finish all the graphics. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. I'm gonna keep it real. I didn't get to finish the graphics, but we do have a few. I like my stuff in order, position wise. So we do have a quarterback we're offering, Trey Gurria. Look, you're not wrong, Scotty. Were and have been. But then we're told to, never mind, bootstraps and all that good stuff. Another one, Travis Jones, running back. He's actually from Childs. He's currently at Coffeyville. Cabron Paul, 5'9", 155, guy from Lincoln. Jeremiah Orr, 6'5", 330. He's been in like 7 schools. Facetious, but it's been like 4 or 5. Then Amari Falk, 6'3", 320 from Taylor County. And Demarion Davis Andrews, 6'3". We've offered this guy before. 6'3", 255. So got the graphics coming. We'll probably talk more sports on Sunday. We do have our special guest on that day. So I'm forced him to get out of his comfort zone, talk a little bit of sports. But I think that's the ongoing question. Like at a certain point, we're seeing where you're really going to have a true different level of Division I sports. Like, we got to stop playing this game where everybody's inclusive. Like, we see the government, everybody's not inclusive. We're seeing the rich are separating from the less rich. Athletically, we're seeing the same thing. I mean, look at who's at the end of this NCAA tournament. Almost all of them from the SEC. And we know the SEC and the Big Ten are paying the most money. Is it a surprise that the conferences that are paying schools the most money have the most teams in the conference tournament, in the NCAA tournament? I mean, I'm just saying, we know SEC schools are getting paid so much money that they're trying to really, they're laundering it. Like, at this point, if we're being real about this, what we're seeing from the SEC is money laundering. Like, it's not illegal, but at the end of the year, these schools are supposed to show that they pretty much did make a profit. So all of a sudden, they've improved these facilities. They're now paying the athletes. They're doing these different things, and they're doing them at levels that the small schools can't compete with. It's time for you to go on and move up. You're professional teams. We're not. Like, so I think when it comes to FAMU basketball, the challenge is going to be for both sides and really anybody. Who can you get in? But then who can you keep? Who do you want to keep? Like I talked to Curry post game with Cookman. He was like, man, I ain't got no worries about getting people in. I got people that want to come here. Cool. I love that. Coach Gordon's pretty confident in her roster that she's going to be bringing in as well. But the question is, what happens with this transfer portal? Because the other side of the transfer portal is that everything that flashes and everything that's glittery ain't gold. Like, we're seeing students are literally getting left in the transfer portal. We've seen FAMU players before where you're like, we saw what happened to Lovey. Lovey goes up to Murray State. I don't know if you saw a social media page. No pro day. Like, he's like, man, I bust my butt. No pro day? That's tough. Like, what happens when these student athletes get caught out there, man? So, but we'll continue that conversation a little bit, man. You know, look, I told y'all, I promise y'all, we had special guests. Looks like our special guests here in the background. But, you know, I got to bring people up right, man. Look, first vice president, FAMU National Alumni Association. Look, I had to get schooled this year. I had to be like, what do you do? So, you know, Gracious, one of the people she's running against, told me, and I was like, oh, okay, that's fair then. I did not know what. I did not know why. Again, I'm National Alumni Association a few years in, but this is the most active I have been during that time. So these past 2 years, I never saw myself being as active. But if you want to see some active rattlers, I will promise you, these people who run for office, I don't know if you caught the call last night, bylaws call. They were literally saying they are volunteers. These people are volunteers. They're not getting paid. And one of which, Deborah Payton-Jones, she is here. She is ready. And she's going to come up here and, you know, answer some of our questions. Y'all know what we do. And talk about her aspirations to be your next first vice president. We see if we can get it right there and going on bring her up. How are you doing there, Miss Payton-Jones?
I am great. How are you this evening?
I am well. Great to see you again. It's election season, Rattlers. Y'all got about 4 days before the ballots open up. So, would you like to first introduce yourself a little bit? You know, for those who don't know you, the first time meeting you, and you know, tell a little bit about yourself.
Well, yes. Thank you so very much. I'm a FAMU, and you know, Mother FAMU raised me, and so I just start out by saying that because I'm nothing in my professional life without having had the foundation of having attended Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. And so that was a blessing. I'm Deborah Payton-Jones. I'm the sixth child of Thelma and Joseph. Now, why is that important? Because big families you have to learn so many things by being a part of a big family. But then I had to turn, and I only had one child. So, you know, the best of both worlds there. My father was in World War II. My mother was at NCC. It was NCCC when she graduated from North Carolina Central, because it was North Carolina Central for coloreds. That was before they changed and became the university. So I'm currently your national membership chairperson, and I'm so proud and happy to be giving back to FAMU because FAMU has done and given so much to me. I have encouraged about 700 people in the last 2.5 years since I have been the national membership chair have become life members. So that was yielding and being able to put directly into our restricted fund about $525,000 that will be there in perpetuity for our students coming behind us. I know I needed money when I was in school. So, you know, I know that some things have not changed. We're very, very happy. When I say we, I'm talking about my husband, my daughter, and I. My daughter is matriculating at Florida A&M University at this moment. She is graduating in May with her master's degree in education, concentration on curriculum and instruction. So it's not only important to me, but it was important that my younger sister came to FAM. God rest her soul, but she came to FAM. My daughter is now at FAM. You can't give back when you're not prepared. So I had to then do all the other things in my life to be able to bring a wealth of knowledge to be able to be there and give back to FAMU. So in the last 3 years, that's what I've been doing for our College of Love and Charity. You know, we have all these names. We brag differently. We're College of Love and Charity. But what do we do? And that was Keith. When you said that, I said, Keith, that is an excellent question. Because when you think about what we learned, I'm an SBI grad. I'm one of Mobley's kids. President Walter Smith was president when I was there. I know we have a lot of people that come in different eras, but Walter Smith was there when I was there. I interned with Anheuser-Busch and with Honeywell while in SBI and being a business management major. I was the president of the Orders Club, president of the Beta Alpha chapter of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated while on campus. And I was also elected the electoral commissioner. So as a kid, as a young person, public service and being a public servant has always been instilled in me. And doing it for you don't look for anything in return. You just make sure that you pay it forward and hope that those that come after you are able to pay it forward and have the respect level to give to those people who paved the way ahead of them. I was an RA. We had to put Band-Aids on grown people's knees while in school. So taking care of people, being a servant leader. And so there's so much more about Deborah Payton-Jones, but I want you to ask me anything else, but there's so much more. I've been married for 34 years to the same man. And so that's also been a blessing. That's how I'm able to do so many good things, because you have to have that support at home as well.
Awesome. Look, man, she hit the ground running. I love it. So my favorite question, my first question I like to ask, especially when I have guests, who are FAMU grads? Why FAMU? Why did you choose to attend Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, especially considering your mother graduated from North Carolina Central?
Yes, my mother graduated from North Carolina Central. My father was in World War II, so that was his educational trajectory in being in World War II. When I graduated high school, it was the coldest winter on record in New York. I'm a New Yorker born and raised. After I left FAM, I came back to New York. And it was the coldest winter on record. I said to my parents, I don't know where I'm going to go, but I will not be in New York when that next winter comes around. And I had some friends that had gone to so many different schools all around, and an HBCU just felt right. My father said, oh, you can go to school here and you can live at home. And I said, thank you, Dad. Thank you so much. But I've done some research, and I think that I'm going to apply to Florida A&M University, and let's see what happens. And I was accepted into the school via sociology. My first major at FAM was sociology. So I wasn't handpicked. Some people I wasn't handpicked by Sybil, but just like a child who felt that they weren't wanted. Once I left sociology, I was sitting there and I was tapped in to present a paper for a senior, and I was a freshman. And I had to go to Knoxville and do the presentation of this paper. And I won first place in presenting someone else's paper. And because that was the way the program went, somebody could write it and then they wrote who the presenter was going to be. So at that point, I felt that sociology may be a little too easy for me. So maybe I should try something a little different. I was in parliamentary procedure, old school. I don't even know if they have it anymore. It was VICA, Vocational Industrial Clubs of America, because I also went, not only in New York, you're able to get your degree, and then you can get a regent's degree. And since I had finished all my classes, because I'd started in junior high taking high school classes, so I went to beauty school for the last 2 years, and I also got a degree in cosmetology. So it was just so perfect to be able to apply and say, oh, Mom and Dad, I'm going to go down to Florida. Where'd that come from? So I said, I think you're going to be proud of me. I think it's going to be great. And I'll tell you, you don't really talk, families don't talk the way I think families should talk. So if you have a cousin that may have not lived in the same state, you may find out that cousin also went to FAMU. When I got down to FAMU, I found out I had a cousin in Tallahassee who had graduated 10 years prior. So FAMU was the right thing. I made an appointment with Dr. Sybil Collins Mobley, and I went over, and she accepted me into the School of Business and Industry, and the rest was history. So I was in the first TV taping with Johnson & Johnson. I was the first intern that Honeywell had in Minneapolis. So there were a lot of wonderful things that came about after that, and never one regret. I wouldn't have sent my child there or my sister had I had any regrets about FAMU. So FAMU, what helped me select FAMU, that cold winter, that beautiful sunshine, and the beautiful melanin of the people that I was going to be partaking in.
Awesome, awesome. And you definitely have one of your sorors. Kenya dropped a hello.
Can you cite, hey, Kenya?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And then the question: did you ever work in the hair salon on campus from from little baby there?
I'm so glad you said that. There was no hair salon on campus when I was there. I was the hair salon. I did Joe Bullett's wife's hair. I did everybody in their dorm. While they were watching soap operas, I had my scissors. I cut. Back then, Keith, it was Jerry curl season. So I did Jerry curls for $40 a head on men and women, and brought all my supplies from the beauty supply stores here in New York. And I'm sure whoever will see this later, I have hundreds of clients that I did their hair when I was online, offline, as electoral commissioner, in my house, in their house. I think I watched more soap operas with students, and I never watched soap operas, but I would cut hair during their soap opera time because that was the only time they would sit still. So there was no beauty supplies, there was no beauty salon, but I had scissors and did travel.
Okay. See, during my era, we did have the barbershop opened up when I was first started at FAM. So, not to show my complete age, but I still got a little gray up there. So, now you mentioned that relationship, and we've noticed a lot of our SBI rattlers. Y'all come back and y'all end up tending to work SGA and end up coming back and doing the NAA, things like that. But could you speak to the Dr. Mobley experience? Like, for instance, I didn't get that experience. Now, I grew up in Tallahassee during the Humphreys era, so I was there on campus. I may not have been a student, but I was at everything else. So, what could you experience and really expound actually upon being there while Dr. Mobley was there? For us, she's legendary. For others, they may not know as much.
Yeah, it brings tears to my eyes that she's no longer there or here to speak to. But Dr. Sybil Collins Mobley was everything. She was a visionary. She was a person that would do and show you how to do it. So it wasn't just, I'm going to tell you what to do. She knew how to do. And if she didn't know how to do it, she hired the right people in the positions. And what she was really great at was allowing people to do the work that she hired them to do. So oftentimes you get people that will hire people in, but still micromanage. That was not her in any way. She was out there getting the dollars, all the board that you see up there, $150,000 minimum that it took for people to get on that board. And that was back in the 80s. So when you think about a person who not only had a family of her own, but poured into thousands of young people, recruited thousands of young people. In those days, it was called, SBI was second only to Harvard, and we questioned if we were second at all. We were taught receptions and Orators Club, and we had so many different opportunities that she provided that enabled us to be on par with each other first. Because she brought everyone came in with different skills and different ideas and different ways of doing things and different levels, a different, financial pocketbooks, let's say that their parents, some had silver spoons, some had plastic spoons. But Dr. Mobley was the great equalizer. She was the great equalizer and made sure that not only did you know what you were supposed to do, but you knew how you were supposed to do it. And not only did you know how you were supposed to do it, but she then put students in leadership positions that she then made sure that not only were you prepared, but that you were there as a conduit of information for the next generation. We did not leave anybody behind. There was no one that was left behind in our era. We made sure that we supported each other. When I moved back to New York, there were a group of interns that were going to intern in New York afterwards. I let 4 people come to my house. Just last year, I met the father of one of the students that I won't call names, but the father of one of the students that stayed in our house. And she said, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot about a lot of the things that we've done." But that particular incident was great because her parents said that she was from Florida and they were so afraid, and that someone in New York who was from FAM, who knew about FAM, was going to be able to be there to help their daughter. So, and that was all because of Dr. Mobley. Of course, my parents were instrumental, but Dr. Mobley was your parent on campus. She was not only your teacher, but your disciplinarian. She would not hold back. But what was most important, she did everything from a factual standpoint. There was nothing that you had to question. Her motives were pure. She just wanted us to be the best poppin' melanin people that we could possibly be. And she created all of us, and we're scattered all around the world. But I get calls to this day, KG, so many people that we get calls, Takia, so many people that call, and we stay in contact with each other, and we support each other in many ways. So Dr. Mobley was legendary. She was a one of a kind. She is someone that it will take all of us to emulate. You know how you can have 2 parents can have 11 kids, but 11 kids can't take care of 2 parents. So I see that she poured so much into us that it's only befitting that we pour into those behind us in whatever way we can. It may not come right after college, but we have a commitment. And I feel that I'm honoring that commitment by running for first vice president.
Okay. And you kind of mentioned that life after college, and I love that natural transition. Could you speak to what do you do professionally now? You know, we know you've done SBI, you've attained a certain level of success. But could you speak to professionally, what do you do? Because sometimes your professional skills can help support these type of offices because you have the skill set.
Thank you. Well, starting out in high school, I did parliamentary procedure, and we did opening and closing ceremonies and learned how to properly open and close a meeting and do it efficiently, effectively, and timely, and to make sure that we utilize everyone in our group. So that took me into college. And then, like I said, I did hair. So that was my entrepreneurial side that I had before I even took a class. And then I said I interned. I interned with Anheuser-Busch and with Honeywell. Anheuser-Busch was in industry and government affairs, and Honeywell was in finance. And I accepted a position with Bristol-Myers upon graduation, and I was a territory sales representative with Bristol-Myers. So you have to learn how to do everything, because your house is your business. The supplies and everything you have comes to your home, and you have to do time management, people management. You have to make sure that you are making sure the stocks, the shelves are stocked, and not just physically stocking shelves, but forecasting and making sure that they see the value in the product that you're selling them, and making sure that they could trust in you. Then, so trust and moral standards and moral fiber, that was again instilled. Then my father got really ill, and I moved back from upstate back to Long Island, and I started to work. A friend of mine, another FAMU grad, called me and said, "So what are you doing now?" And I said, "Well, I'm just kind of hanging out here with my parents because, they're getting very old. My father now is an amputee, so we want to make sure that we have this." She said, "Well, I have something for you. FIT, the Fashion Institute of Technology, is looking for someone." And I said, she said, "You did all that stuff in college. You were an RA. You did all this stuff. So I thought about you." So it's another case of who you know, because who would have known that position? I didn't even know what an F or an I or a T was. I didn't know about FIT. I had left here. I had gone to FAMU. I didn't know about the Fashion Institute of Technology. Well, 32 years later, after being and creating programs for the university. I was the coordinator for all the volunteer programs that the university had. And I did that for 32 years. And it was a position I created because it was not there. And when I came into the office and it was a summer position, they said, well, you do this, you do that. Why don't we create this position? And so we created the position. I stayed there for 32 years. I had students. We started a gospel choir for 25 years. I had the gospel choir from FIT visit the gospel choir at FAMU. Everything in my life, I made sure that there was some kind of a connection. So then reciprocally, FAMU came to New York, and we had them come and do 3 concerts. We did a concert at my church, Perfecting Faith Church, where Pastor Donnie McClurkin is my pastor. We did one at First Baptist Church, and we did one at the university. And why is that important? Because I saw skill sets of individuals and was able to harness it. And we even had a couple of people who were Jehovah's Witness that said, please don't tell my mother that I'm in this gospel choir. So it was really funny, but being able to harness people's talents and being able to put them in places that will help them excel and create an opportunity for them that they may not have ever thought was there. Then in 2020, I retired. I retired from the Fashion Institute of Technology, and that was on September 10th. And then I started career number 3, and that was to work for the Board of Elections, because I'm either helping individuals with registration and voting and understanding the rationale and the reason to vote, or I'm shopping at Costco. So I said I would either work at Costco or work at the Board of Elections. And it came about, I got a phone call the day after I retired. I started working. So this is almost 5 years that I have worked for the community here on Long Island, making sure that people understand that they have options. It even gave me the opportunity to finally have my 501c3, which is Voter Education 365, where I have spoken to the government relations exec board. I've spoken to civic organizations, sororities, all sororities, not just one, and fraternities and civic organizations to make sure that they understand why it's important to vote, and in a nonpartisan way. So, and that, if you think about how I said earlier, I was electoral commissioner on campus. So my life is, I try to make sure that I make that stew and use everything I have to then advance the community in which I live, the community in which I serve, and the community that I left, but I'll never totally leave Florida. Hence, my daughter's down there now, and we're hoping that come August she will be in the PhD program.
Okay. What's the PhD in?
Educational leadership and supervision. So she's getting the master's now. The application is in. We're waiting to see. So FAMU, don't think that I'm saying that she's automatically in, but she's looking to take that next leap.
Okay. I got my master's in education leadership. So, and you mentioned that work skill set. The first vice president, and I had to learn this because I was like, hey, what's the platform of first vice president? And they were like, there's really no platform. We're really here more of like a support role. And I was like, oh, okay. And they kind of come in and help out the president if the president's not available. How do you bring that skill set over to the position of the first vice president?
Well, thank you for that question. It's, you have to make sure that you're willing to serve and that you're willing to follow the vision of the president. Oftentimes people think that their position is their position, but when you're on an exec board, you're a team. And another thing that Dr. Mobley instilled in us, we had so many group projects. Oh my gosh, people were, you wanted to annihilate some people because they did not hold up their end. So you learned how to make it so that if a person is not holding up their end, there's a way to talk to them. There's a way to encourage them. There's a way to find out what it is that made them run, which is part of the question that you asked me about why FAMU, but why do they run? And if they ran, are they being fulfilled? And is that why they're not doing or keeping up to par with whatever their position is? I think that the first vice president in enacting, again, the vision of the president has that wonderful opportunity to sit back and look at everyone else and be of assistance to them, because they are all we're all volunteers. What did you say at the top of this call? You said that it was quite evident in the bylaws meeting that it was repeated that we are all volunteers. And that's true. We're all volunteers. I pay for myself to come wherever I go and do whatever we have to do. And I get phone calls while I'm at work. You have to be able to be flexible enough to partake in helping someone else. But you also have to have the ability to see someone needs help without them asking for help, and not to be presumptuous, but to have a conversation. And the conversation need be two-way, not a one-way conversation, because you'll hear things, body language, some things that are not said. So first vice president should be a strong leader working hard for all membership. And it's not just one position. You're there to make sure that the whole machine works smoothly and effortlessly, because that will help free up the president to do the things that will be important for us, whether it's legislatively, whether it's procedurally, the contacts that we have to create, the sponsorships, and the just everything that the president should be free enough to be able to do. And I think that that's what's really important. And that's why I think that my skill set will be perfect to enable whoever the president is to be an effective leader without me worrying about it. Because I have no aspirations of being president. Let me just say that here and now. I have absolutely no aspirations of being president. I mean, even in 10 years, I'm not running for president ever. I'm always in a supporting role. And I love being in a supporting role, because that way you see a need and you fill it.
I feel you on that. And you actually touched on my next question, because I was going to ask you about, how do you see yourself support the president? But you gave me a good one on that one there. But you did mention growing membership, and you mentioned it earlier. Like during your time, you talked about growing life membership, and I don't think a lot of us really understand the benefit of life membership. I know for me, it took a little minute. It was like, oh, okay, I kind of get it. But in general, we do know that we have like 70, 80,000 alumni, and currently we have about 4,000 National Alumni Association members. So that's a small percentage. How do we grow that?
I'm glad you said that. There are a lot of pieces to this. Just like any industry, if you change one thing and try to change something else, you'll never know what really worked. So you have to then truly, and that was from my Anheuser-Busch days. That was when the minimum age was changed from 18 to 21. And so that was a part of what we had to then put out and market to the world, that that's what it was. And how was Anheuser-Busch going to deal with this? Because, teenage drinking was, that was a large share of their money. So now when you look at membership, you have to understand people. I've gotten calls since I've been the national membership chair. I've gotten calls from people who have not been active in 40 years. They said, "Oh, Deb, you're there. Oh, this is great. Let me go ahead and become a life member. My life is so busy. I don't have time to go to chapter meetings." So life membership is a critical part of how we are able to sustain giving scholarships to students. The monies that you pay to life membership, $750 today. I'll just put it like that. $750 if you are a FAMU grad or someone who has matriculated for a semester or more, or if you just love FAMU. $750 goes into a restricted fund. That restricted fund, we peel off the interest of that to then give the scholarships. So obviously, the more money in the fund, the more money we'll be able to give for scholarships. Now, why is that important for everyone to know? I think that before we say, what am I going to get for that? Think about what we already have received for that. When I talk to other universities and their membership, their leaders of membership, they give them nothing. They just say, my daughter went to St. John's. They don't give them anything. They say, you pay this amount. They do it commensurate to whatever they're thinking is going to work for that particular group. I was in DC day before yesterday, at a Delta convention, and I met up with one of my sorors who was the membership chair for her university in HBCU. And she saw my pen and she said, let me take a picture of that because I'm about to bite, because we don't give our people anything for what they pay. And they pay, I might be good, I'll be off a year, but they pay $1,868 for their life members, commensurate to the year that the school was founded. And she said, and they don't expect anything from us, but I like that pen. So talking to people and seeing what their expectations are, we can't brag differently if we want to be just like everybody else. So if we are bragging about FAMU, that should be enough for us to each become a life member. After you become a life member, then you can go and see, you'll get your email messages, you'll see what chapter may be near you where you live. You may even want to be a part of an affinity chapter. An affinity chapter is, you could be a part of an affinity chapter if you were in the band, or if you were football, if you're a nurse, or if you're an AKA, or if you're, there's so many different ways that you can be in a chapter where you will do additional things. But why don't we all start out by being life members, and then making sure that we're giving our future selves an advantage higher. What are we supposed to do? We're supposed to let people stand upon our shoulders and reach higher heights. How are we going to do that if we have to spend all the money that we're getting from you back on you? That's to me. So how are we going to grow? First, I think that we should grow via life membership. Then we need to then have our each one teach one. Keith, you said that you got your master's in leadership and supervision. You can call all the people that were in your class and say, hey guys, why don't we all become life members this year? And then we can decide if we want to start an affinity group. But let's first find out what the Alumni Association is doing. But we can do that after we become life members. Life members should not be the thing that comes after. That's the first way to grow our association. Not only does it grow our association, but it simultaneously makes us able to have that money in perpetuity, which is, like I said before. Then you'll say, oh my gosh, look at these emails. I'm getting all this stuff. I can go to the Leon County chapter. I can go to the Atlanta chapter. I can go out to California. You can go and be a part of FAMUans everywhere. You may travel a lot. You may be in Chicago 3 times a year. You can go and call some FAMUans because you now have the contact information. So how do we grow? Personal relationships. That's how we're going to grow.
Okay. And we got a question in the comments here. Put it up there. So when analyzing the NAA, what things do you see should be implemented or discontinued to advance its mission? Now, that wasn't my question. I was like, oh, that's a nice one now.
No, that's great. I told you before. And so everyone knows, I didn't read any questions from you in advance. So this is not anything that is a rehearsed meeting. And actually, we just set this up last night. So this is great. I love that question because after having looked, and I was the national membership chair, I'm a non-voting member for the association. So for the last 2.5, almost 3 years, I've been there, but you may not have heard me or seen me because my thing is, I'm not a voting member. So I can say a lot of things, but I can't vote on it. What did I see that should be discontinued or enhanced? We just were audited by, and you know this from last night, being on the bylaws committee meeting last night. Being there last night, we found that a lot of the things that we have in our bylaws, we now have to be in tune with another set of bylaws that we are now adopting and adapting so we can then move forward. So things are already in place that will be discontinued and that will be enhanced. So I'm really glad that the current administration saw fit to follow the recommendations of an auditor. We oftentimes get doctors that tell us what we should do. We get auditors that tell us where we should go and how we should do it. But I really applaud the executive board and making sure that what has been proposed is what we can then do. Now, what else can we do? I stated it earlier. That personal relationship is what we can then do. That's what we can do to be enhanced. What we can discontinue, I think we should discontinue not having bigger parties for all the people that come back on campus. I think that we should, and a party doesn't have to be alcohol and you find yourself the next day. A party can be a networking opportunity. A party can be where you're coming in and you have different things that you would like to share. We can have a paraphernalia exchange. People have bought stuff from FAMU that they may not be able to utilize anymore because of girth. So why don't we share and exchange? So there's a lot of things that we can do to enhance it. But I think that if we stick with the College of Love and Charity and remember the words that we say when we're singing our alma mater and we're talking to people, and when we talk to people outside, we are talking about FAMU. They think we're a cult. They say, I don't know, how is it that I see more people with FAMU orange and green through the airports? You don't see that with other schools. And I think that we should just have more respect for one another, more leveling up, making sure that you see that the people that came before you, and that if they put a hand down to help you up, you can't turn a blind eye to the people that are coming behind you. There are things that we've learned that we've not passed down. So while we're here, pass those things down, but make sure you're open for suggestions that the younger people are giving you. Working at the Fashion Institute and working with college students for all those years, students would come to me and say, you may be the same age as my grandmother, but I understand you. And I don't understand what the other people. So you have to be able to understand people and meet people where they are. So in all the years, I think that just meeting people where they are and understanding that we all came from FAMU, we all learned what we learned, but then we mixed it with our real life situations, and we should be all really come out better for it. So there's nothing I would discontinue other than those things that would help us move forward in a more positive way.
All right, I'm gonna get you on like three more. And this is, you got the little mouse on the wheel working there. So you mentioned the life membership, and I know all of us can't, but for those of us that do pay the yearly membership, does any of that go towards the endowment that life membership funds go into? Because just thinking, again, this is just the hamster moving on the wheel. Can some of those funds from those who are paying the yearly membership be moved towards to help with that endowment, or are some of those funds moved to help with the endowment?
Well, the great thing about the endowment is the purpose of it. And then the other accounts where the monies that are coming in for annual members is what you're discussing. Annual members. Yes. Those funds can be used. And again, I try to be a person that stays in my lane. So I'm not going to go into the exact intricacies of how the monies are then divvied and how they're spent. But those are also a part of what the president has to look at, the big picture, the umbrella, to see where the need is. And the last two administrations that I've seen work have been quite capable in making sure that we've increased the amount of monies that we've given to scholarships. And the chapters, let's not sleep those chapters. The chapters raise money and give scholarships in thousands of dollars each year. That does not come from the association. So when you hear the association is giving a certain amount of money, that doesn't take into account all the money all the chapters are giving as well. They what they call it, be out days, and when they're sending students, they call so many different things, but they send the students that are new to FAM off with a little money in their pocket. Now they make sure that they submit that information to the foundation so that it can all be, and admissions, so that all the monies can be properly accounted for. But we also give them gift baskets and linen and things that you don't realize you're going to need, because your mother or father is going to say you're not taking that with you. When you get down there, you don't even have a twin bed up here, so you don't need to take that. So the great thing about all the chapters is that they do things that are so important to the community in which they serve. And I'll say that not only do they help the community in which they serve and have events for the parents and events for the students, but they also make sure that they stay in contact with the students as the students are matriculating. So they may get a care package. And so chapters are so important with the day-to-day. The monies, I would say personally, the monies that come in through the annual membership, I don't think that a lot of it should have to go over there unless it's needed, unless we have a down year. Let's say that we have no new life members, so that the monies and the percentage that we get is leveled. We might need to have some monies coming from the other side. So that would lead me to say that we also need everyone, because you said it best. Everyone can't become a life member immediately. It's not realistic. However, before you walk across that stage, students can pay $500 to become a life member. If you are matriculating, and before you walk across that stage and become an alumni, before you move that tassel, if you pay that $500, you can then be a life member and don't have to worry about it. And then you just come in and become a member of a chapter or become an at-large member. It's not called at-large. Sometimes I say the things that the sororities have. So it's not called at-large. Don't get me wrong. It's not at-large. But you can become a national member. So there's also ways that you can become a subscribing life member. So let's say a person would like to say, okay, that's $750. Please amortize it over the time to be for 3 years or 5 years. You can do that. And it's not such a heavy hit on an individual. And that way, that's how you can also become a life member. Annual members, we want you to become an annual member. We want you to help the monies that go into the different local chapters. Why? Because they give scholarships and they do events and they have galas. So you may not be able to go, or you may not have carved out the time to go to chapter meetings. You may not want to be on the executive board, but you can be a financial member. You can be a member. And when they call you, I would say, just like I did on my cell phone, my message said, please do not leave a voice message because they will not be returned. Because the most important thing is, if you have a cell phone, a work phone, a house phone, and then children and a husband, you're answering the phone all day. So I don't have on my personal cell phone. I said, at some point, we have to be able to stop the information flow coming in. Similarly to when you become an annual member. If you're an annual member and you live currently in Tallahassee?
No, I'm in the Orlando region. I'm from Tallahassee, though.
Okay, so if you live in Orlando, you can go to the president of the Orlando chapter and say, I want to be a financial member, but I'm letting you know now that I have no time in the next 2 years to be on a committee, to do any of that. However, I want to make sure I support and I can become a financial member. Now, most people don't do that because they think, Deborah, why would you even do that? Because I want to be financial, but I want them to know up front, I have 30,000 things I'm doing right now. I will come when I can. I'll buy tickets for the galas. I'll send you money when you're doing scholarship funds. I'll come to the fish fry, but I will not be at monthly meetings. So I'm just saying that's just a way to be active and to still, if we brag differently, let's brag differently. I wish I had a fan to pop it right now. I don't have a fan around me. Where's the fan?
Mine is back yonder somewhere. But mentioning, little baby had a question. So look, she might have had a student make it for her.
Thank you. There is a vendor here in New York that he actually travels all around. And when I saw this print, I said, please do me a favor. I need all of the ones that you have in that print. He said, why? I said, because when I wear this one out, I want to have the next one. And when I wear that one out, I want to have the next one. So you may see me in this, but it may not be the same one that I had one before, because that's how I like to do. If I see something that fits well or that fits my narrative well, I'll get several of them, and then my brother taught me that, and just go ahead and okay, this one can go to be this can be donated next. But yes, little baby, if you give Keith your information, I'll put you in contact with my vendor, and he's like I said, he's all over the country now. I'll be able to get you on.
And then fangsuppodcast@gmail.com. So, you know, I know I don't hide. I'm easy to find. Ask this last one from the group. Then I'm gonna get my last two. So, do you foresee an increase in the life membership fee? That's a great question.
It's a great question. And I will say that the membership committee had been working tirelessly for the last year. But one of the, as you saw, and we invite everyone to go to the bylaw committee meetings so that you have a better understanding what and how we're able to operate. And last night it was stated that a lot of we submitted maybe 10 different bylaw revision proposals. And after the auditor reviewed, they stated that those items should be taken out of the bylaws and put in the policies and procedures. So do I see that it's going to happen in the foreseeable future? If the foreseeable future means between now and the end of the fiscal year, no. If it's within the next year, yes. I see. Now, this was a question to me, so whoever's watching this later on, I'm not saying that there is going to be a fee. I'm not saying that I have voted for a fee because I cannot vote, okay? But I will say that looking at the need analysis of the association and for the growth that we want, we all want growth and we all want more for what we are paying. But we can't do that if we don't have more people come in and be members of the association. I think just by this call, if there are 100 people out there that would just go ahead and become a national member, I'll ask Keith for at the next, when he finishes his StreamYard, if he can put up how to then go on to FAMUNAA.org. Well, I just said it. Go to FAMUNAA.org and become an annual member today. Select a chapter. You may be from Orlando and live in Nebraska. You may be from Los Angeles and live in Vegas. We have chapters all over the country. And if it's not a chapter that you see where you are, do like we did on Long Island. Charter one. We charted the Long Island chapter because after, most people know New York, but the Long Island chapter, Long Island is a vast, 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 vast area. And I live 50 miles outside of New York City, and there's still 75 more miles minimum going further east than my house. So we thought it not robbery to start a Long Island chapter. And we have members, and that was an asset to the association. We love doing our college fairs, and we do everything we possibly can to push out there the name of FAMU, showing them that, yes, you may be from New York, you may be from Michigan, you may be from other places than Florida, but there's a place for you there as well.
And let me fix that. There we go. So, and as y'all saw, that was the website. Some of the features on the website, I will tell y'all, it kind of has its own like quasi Facebook type vibe where you can talk to people who are members and other things like that. It sends you a notification on your birthday. Like, it's pretty cool. Like when you kind of get into it, if you got a little time, it's actually kind of fun. Like, I always have time to kind of go in there and check in and sign in, but you do get notifications and things like that. So it's a pretty cool little way for you to maybe reconnect and then get connected with fellow FAMUans. So, just want to put that out there.
I say that with doing that, because I said to my daughter the same thing. I said, whenever you have that mindset to procrastinate, make it a productive procrastination and go online to the FAMU NAA. Since you would not normally do that, go online to the FAMU NAA. see what events are taking place, order tickets, order some items. There's so much there for you. There's a wealth of information, just like there was when we were on campus.
And look, she saw the question coming. So mentioning back on campus. So I asked our amazing athletic director this question. I didn't ask Chuck and President Johnson's question because one's alpha, one's a kappa. So didn't want them to start comparing, because we obviously know who's better. But what was or it has been your best moment as a member of Delta Sigma Theta?
Wow. I have to. My daughter's calling me. I have to tell her, Dominique, I'm on StreamYard. I can't talk to you right now. I'm sorry I didn't send you the link. I love you. So the best moment of being a member of the baddest Theta Alpha chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, I guess, was when I was elected to be president while I was a student. To be president of a chapter with such a storied history, with such a past and a legacy, with the quote unquote big sisters that would come back, the stories, the work, the social action, the camaraderie. There was something for everyone. So I think that the best moment for me, and there's been hundreds of great moments, but the best was when I was elected president, because when you're elected something by your peers, there's another level of respect and humble behavior that I have towards those individuals, because they saw it not robbery to then allow someone. And remember, I pledged while I was 20, I was 20 years old. And so it was really an amazing time. And we did so much. We did vote. I have some of the old flyers. We did voter registration drives. We had so much. We were adults. We were like adulting. And life was just lifing, but we were adulting. And I look at people who are 20 now, and I think about the things that we were. So being president, I would say, would be my, can I give a second and a third? But no, okay.
If you got a second, I'll let you give a second. Look, don't say no names, guy.
No. I'm an open book. I have nothing. Whatever we did, while we were in school, there was no internet, so
right.
we were up. We had to be about it. We had to do. If you partied hard, you had to work hard, and so we were SBI students, and nursing students, and pharmacy students, and there was no easy ride at all for any of that. So that was huge. Then I would have to say, in my alumni chapter, I was first vice president, and loved being able to be over membership, another constant in my life, because by being first VP, I was able to recognize, as I said earlier, recognize people's strengths, help them find their own voice. Oftentimes people are in the room, but not of the group, and they're there. And I would make sure that I did not leave anybody out. And I guess my third was being able to volunteer with my line sister at a national convention, and my other line sister's mother being one of the people that are revered in Delta, and being able to be there to support her, and with my line sisters 40 years later, that sisterhood, that bond that is still there. That's what Deltas are about. I'm not saying we're the best, but we're the best at what we do.
Hey, I have some bias, so I got a cousin that came
What
through
we do. I
FAMU.
didn't say everybody
So
else is the best at what they do. We're
there
just
we
at the
go.
best at what we do. I never diss anybody else.
Hey, I got a couple cousins over there. One's in Harlem, so she's right up there with you, Dr. Hadley.
Yes, and
So
I'm sure
last
Paula
one,
Hadley's your cousin. I'm sure Paula. We have to check and see if
yeah,
Paula's
yes,
also a deuce. I'm a
yeah,
deuce.
that's okay. I'm a 7. Now, last one. Could you, one last time, let the people know why they should select you in the next 4-5 days, because they're gonna be on time with these ballots. They're not waiting till the last minute.
They're not. The first day is April 1st, and it'll go through May 1st. So when you look at servant leadership, and that's good for the entire association. It's good for business. You think of empathy and listening and healing and awareness and persuasion, and then conceptualization, because everything is not what you see, because if it was, there would be no inventions. And I'm proud to say, like I said, my daughter who is matriculating there, it would be just a wonderful opportunity to be able to be there as first VP and have her come in and help and assist in the way that she can then bring her vast knowledge. She has her undergrad from St. John's University, so PWI, her first master's from Long Island University, PWI. So she's finally dipping her toe in some chocolate. And by dipping her toe in chocolate, she has a wealth of knowledge that I can tap into to help enhance what I already know. We're only as strong as our weakest link. And so by continuing to bring in more strong-minded individuals that are willing to serve, growth and commitment, foresight, stewardship, when you look at all around you and you see these rattlers and they're yearning to do more, you have to then help build that community. So I'm the person in my mind that's best to help build community, servant leadership, grow membership, give an understanding to membership as to why they should even be a part of it, encourage people, be a team builder. And you know what? This is what I say. I say people are going to vote for whoever they want to vote for. And I'm 100% in support of that. If you vote for me, I appreciate you. If you think about me, I appreciate you. If you don't vote for me, I appreciate you, because that means that you put some thought into the process and you made your individual decision. But as you asked me, I'll look straight in the camera. I'm Deborah Payton-Jones, and I approve this message. I will be the best first vice president this association has ever seen.
Okay. Look, she was ready. Okay. All right. Look, and that's her flyer. As y'all can see, the orange and the green. Look, she got a little swag to her. I see you. But this is her flyer. Make sure you check it out. I'm gonna put all the flyers from everybody, that was on, came on the show. So we want to make sure that y'all are well versed. If you missed, I believe last week, y'all participate in a forum where you also had the opportunity to talk, but we wanted to make sure we gave everyone who was willing. And shout out to Mike Road Dog Reed, because he set this up. He was like, and I was like, hey, let's go. I'm cool with it, man. So I definitely appreciate it. Look, I fought calling her doctor a couple times because she has that prominence of being a doctor. So never know, she might want to go back and get that PhD if she ain't already got it.
Just call me DPJ. DPJ, Deborah Payton-Jones. DPJ. That's great.
Go. So thank you. I'm gonna let you go so you can get ready to go to bed, and we're gonna do the sign off and get everybody going.
So I'm old, so I gotta go to bed now. No, I'm kidding. No, Keith, I have to say thank you. No, I have to say thank you to you. You were so friendly, such a rattler, and when rattlers come together, there's no stopping us. And so thank you so very much. And I hope others avail themselves to this opportunity, because I think that whatever we do, as I said, I'm one of 11 children. So everything I do, I try to look from a standpoint of being fair. And this opportunity was great. And I hope you'll send me the video so I can share it.
Absolutely. I will send you the link right after the show.
And thank each of you who are watching. And I hope that we didn't disappoint you tonight.
Nah, you did great, man. I appreciate it. All right, y'all.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, DPJ.
Thank you.
All right, y'all, man. Look, like I told y'all, man, one of my goals was to not be biased and not show bias. And as she stated, this was pure organic. I literally, she hit me up. Hey, Mike shared your information. I said, come on. And she literally hit me up before I went on my bike ride. And so I went out, rode my bike, did 11 miles yesterday. It came back, I was like, I forgot to message you. So I messaged her literally this morning when we finalized this. So, and she thought it not robbery to come on. But thank everybody for coming on. You know, making sure that we want y'all to see that they're candidates, but they're people. Just like y'all get to see my person out here. When you see me in the street, what you see is what you get. Like, I'm Keith. You know, if you catch me on the right day, I might have attitude. If you catch me on the wrong day, I won't have attitude. I'm human like y'all. But I appreciate Deborah Payton-Jones for coming on. Look, and you've seen we've had two of our first vice presidents. We're working on a third one as well. You know, we kind of reached out, played a little phone tag. And look, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. That's just how the Lord works. Like, we were supposed to, I ain't gonna tell y'all the whole story, but that was a ram in the bush on this one, and she filled the void. So I'm really thankful. Look, y'all, Sunday, Regional VP William Uman will be back. He's gonna campaign a little bit. We're gonna talk a little bit of sports too, because look, we done got behind. Gotta catch up on these offers, talk some FAMU, have some fun, and he's gonna tell you why he wants to be your next president. He is running against current NAA president Curtis Johnson, and yeah, I got love for everybody. Look, I just want FAMU to be great at the end of the day. So for everybody, hey, y'all getting old, and I am too. Y'all already know. For everybody at HBCU Digital Network, I greatly appreciate you and your time. Share with a friend, like, subscribe, and y'all already know what it's always gonna be. Fangs up.
Yeah, baby, you know what time it is. Now let's get it started.
Are you kidding me? Unreal.
While our HBCUs are mostly known for academic rigor, community, they also know how to turn up.
Does he have it?